This is Aaron Mathias from Human Garage, and we are going live today with Christian from Minnesota Nice Ethnobotanicals, talking about the power of plants, herbs, and some other magical substances. I'm actually very excited for this conversation because this is a subject that I am not super familiar with because of the power of all of these different herbs, and they are incredible. So we're going to talk to Christian today from Minnesota Nice Ethnobotanicals. We're just waiting for them to hop on with us. In the meantime, let's do a little housekeeping. If, my friends, have any of you tried the fascial maneuvers? Anybody? Anybody out there? If you have, and or helped anyone you know, what would happen if you took it to a deeper level? What would happen if you increased your understanding of the very subtle nuance of as you're grabbing and the breath part of it, and brought the understanding of what you're actually doing and how it's moving the body at a whole new level? Where could that take your own practice? But where could that take people in your own life that you want to help? Well, now you can take it to a deeper level by going over to humangarage.net and getting on the waiting list for the next cohort of our coaching program, our official coaching program. So my friends, gone on over there. If you haven't done so already, Fashion Maneuvers has helped you and you want to take it to your understanding of it and the complexities of it to a whole new level, go over to humangarage.net and become an official certified coach. And if you'd like to connect with me and have amazing discoveries, amazing conversations about beliefs, how beliefs and our stories we tell ourselves affect the body and affect the mind and body connection, go over to Aaron Mathias, the purpose, and we can have some amazing discussions there. Right now, we're just waiting for our friends to join us. We're talking today, and we do this every Wednesday. We started going on in the mornings now because, it's a lot more fun in the morning to do this. Having discussion to and diving into a much richer conversation about the products and the services that they have created, that they have built. The who, the what, the when, the where, and the why. Because it's one thing to become a product shill, right? Like, hey, we love this product, use it. But it's another to understand the story behind it and understand a deeper knowledge of how it works, the effects on the human body, the effects on the mind, and why these creators decided to bring this product or service to market. Here at Human Garage, we believe in deeply educating all of you to the utmost degree. And as we learn new information or we learn new things, we want to keep expanding that, taking it to a deeper and deeper and deeper level. So today we're talking to Christian from Minnesota Nice Ethnobotanicals, and I believe they requested, I wonder if they're having any technical issues hopping on here because I invited them to join us on the chat. And let's see, let's look through here. Hey, Jules, are you on here? I see your name pop up. If you are, wave hi, bro. As we're looking for our good friends here to join us, it looks like they're having technical problems because I did see them join and I did invite them in. Do, 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 do. Anyway, friends, in the meantime, I have a request for all of you. We are working on the official Human Garage podcast, Human Garage Talks currently, which I'm co-hosting with Jason, Gary, and Aisha. And if you know any people who would make incredible guests, and now this can't be just anybody. This has to be a person on the cutting edge of thought, someone who's a thought leader, someone who's expanding the world in a new way. They don't necessarily have to be ultra famous. We're looking to speak to people who are on the cutting edge and who will be famous soon because of what they're doing, what they're contributing to the world. We want to have deep conversations, unedited, uncensored conversations about topics relating to health, wellness, the universe, and life itself. So if you know anybody out there that you are connected to that you think would be good, you can DM me directly over at Aaron Mathias. The purpose, fastest way to do it. Hold on 1 second. There we go. New request. So yes, we are working on the official Human Garage podcast, Human Garage Talks, which I'll be co-hosting, and we're excited to have some amazing people on. So if you know anybody cool to talk to that you think we should connect to, hey Christian, yeah, I just invited you to join. So yeah, I honored your request, my friend. So just come on in, or try to send another request. But I did accept you, so you can come on. Yep. I accepted you. I'll try again from my side of things. Thanks for being patient, everyone. We're just having a little technical difficulties. Very strange. Christian, it says you are unable to join our live. Do you want to try from your business account again? Maybe there's a black on your account from joining lives. Sometimes our lovely friends at Instagram can do that. Because Christian, I've tried to add you a few times. I've tried to add your other account as well. There you go.
There we go.
Heck yeah! All
Hey
right, man.
man, I think it's because our Instagram accounts are restricted because of what we sell. So I have to do this for my personal
Okay.
account.
Yeah. All good. We got on here. I was starting to think maybe your personal account is restricted too.
I think we're good here.
So just right before we dive into it, let me give everyone another heads up of what we're doing because we were just kind of having a pause there. So everyone, my name is Aaron Mathias from Human Garage, and every Wednesday we dive into a deeper exploration of the people that we collaborate with out there in the world, from products to services, things that we love and we use in our own on a daily basis. And we want to bring a deeper story to it because it's one thing to say, hey, here's a great product. It's a completely different to learn the who, what, where, when, and why behind it. Why this person decided to build this product, why they want to bring this to the world. And we wanted to also start to more deeply educate people on these things. So when you are deciding what you use in your own body, in your own life, you can make a way better, more informed decision. So that's part of the reason of having these conversations. And today, I'm excited to talk to Christian, who is from Minnesota Nice Ethnobotanicals. Now, this is a subject that you can go off the rails with because there's so much nuance and exploration of these. So what I would love to do first, Christian, is just kind of dive in, give an introduction. I think it would be helpful probably for people to understand is why the heck you started this whole exploration in the first place, because your story is pretty interesting
Yeah,
on why you started.
yeah, for sure. So I always been very interested in plant medicines and substances. Throughout my 20s, I battled addiction issues. I was addicted to opiates, and I was addicted to benzodiazepines. I was a very functional addict. Was in real estate. Throughout throughout the functionality, I mean, the functionality started to wane over time. And in my late 20s, I decided it was time to get off of everything. And I got off of opiates, which was, extraordinarily difficult. And then it was time to get off benzodiazepines. And I had heard, over and over again that they're the hardest thing in the world to get off of. I wasn't quite prepared for what I got myself into, though. And yeah, I can attest. I would get off of opiates 5 times in a row before getting off of benzos again. It was that awful. And it's not necessarily the acute phase of withdrawal that's that awful. It's the protracted withdrawal or the extended withdrawal. So withdrawal from benzos, and benzos are your typical anti-anxiety medication: Klonopin, Xanax, Ativan, Valium. The withdrawal, or the brain damage that they cause, can take years and years to recover from, and it's a damaged GABA and a damaged glutamate system.
Okay.
And I was a year into it, and I was ready to check out. I was living in fight or flight and extreme terror, day in and day out, trying to build a business. My marriage was failing, like everything was falling apart, and I was ready to call it quits. And I was on this hike and, contemplating the end, so to speak,
Wow.
and I found these beautiful orange mushrooms with white dots growing, and I knew what they were. I knew they were Amanita muscaria. It's something that I was always curious about, but I never tried, just due to the kind of the stories that one heard online about them. Which in retrospect, now that I know more, there were people taking very, very large doses without proper preparation, and having really bad experiences. I kind of like to equate it to, like, if somebody's 16 years old and they want to have their first drink, and they down a bottle of vodka. Like, that's kind of similar to some of these, like, stories that you found online about people trying Amanita. It's just not the way to start off with any substance. And I saw these mushrooms, and there was this unbelievably potent magnetic heart pull to them. Something that I had felt, in the past with things like psilocybin or ayahuasca or various relationships. I think everybody can kind of relate to the idea that when you meet somebody important to you, like, there's this magnetism, there's this
Yeah.
heart pull. And it was yeah, the strongest pull that I felt at that point in my life. And so I picked them, and I went to the house, and I did a bunch of research, and I found that they hit the GABA system and the glutamate system, the same two systems that benzodiazepines damage, the same systems that I was recovering or trying to heal. And like I mentioned, I was down and out. I was out for the count and ready to check out. So I decided I was going to try them, and within a week or two of microdosing, it felt like I healed, 70, 80%, after going through this entire prior year, maybe healing what felt to me like 5 to 10%. So to me, it was as if I had been drowning for a year, and
Wow.
I finally took my first breath, and it was miraculous. And I started experimenting more with this plant medicine, and 6 months later, the entity was formed, the business was formed. We were the first to start selling Amanita to scale here in the States, the first to start importing it. There were some foragers that were, selling what they foraged, but we really scaled it up. And yeah, now we're at the forefront of this new, industry that's taking off very, very quickly, and we're funding research into it, and we've probably seen, thousands of people get off of alcohol or benzodiazepines through the mushrooms that we provide. And this is expanded into, 20, 30 other legal psychoactive plant medicines. But yeah, that's the really quick rundown of how it all started.
Wow. It's pretty incredible because, like, things like, I mean, the benzodiazepine and, like, alcohol can be some of the most severe things to actually come off of, right? Like, even
Yeah.
alcohol addiction is sometimes worse. I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard that people coming off of even, like, alcohol itself, when they're severely addicted to alcohol, is worse and potentially deadly than even, like, a heroin withdrawal.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. GABA is no joke. Messing around with GABA and the glutamate system is no joke. It's absolutely brutal. And yeah, you can have seizures coming off of them, which is what can end up, killing somebody. But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the Amarita actually helps maneuver. How exactly does it help maneuver through the process of rewiring? Is it known, or is it still something kind of being investigated?
Well, this is one of the things that we're funding research into. We don't really know, but it affects GABA and glutamate, which, the GABA and the glutamate system are completely intertwined. So if GABA's messed up, glutamate's messed up. And we don't know why it necessarily seems to rewire or heal these regions of the brain, but anecdotally from all of the, reports that we've gathered through the years, it absolutely does seem to be doing something. So yeah, we're not 100% sure why. I mean, it makes sense that if your GABA is extremely low, if you take something that increases GABA, it would make sense that you'd have relief in those moments when GABA is increased, but we don't have any real understanding, data driven understanding as to why that isn't just while one is under the influence of the compounds. It seems to be a lasting effect. So yeah, it's something we're actually gearing up to go to the Dominican Republic in the next few months here. I believe we're using the same people that you guys use for your research as well. I think you guys are the ones I think Gary's the one that hooked us up with them. But yeah, we're going to be studying all this stuff and really putting some numbers and some data to why this is happening, which is really exciting.
Yeah, no, that's super exciting because it's interesting because you can have like a mountain and mountains and mountains of actual real world evidence. Like, hey, that person took this and they're better. That person took this and they're functioning better. But yet, it still seems like in our society, until you've got now some paper that also corroborates it and says, hey, we researched and it says this says, then it kind of moves into more of a mainstream acceptance of the benefits.
Yeah, I mean, I think the average individual is open to listening to anecdotes, but when you want to get into like professionals' hands and whatnot, like the data is really, really important there. So, if somebody's struggling with anxiety or sleep
Yeah,
issues or benzo issues, like, and they hear about this, they're maybe more willing to try it than a doctor or a professional who might want to recommend it to their patients. So having data
yeah.
is really, really important.
What's the timeline on getting some of the studies back or
Yeah, I think we're hopefully within the next 3 or 4 months we'll have the initial data set, which is just kind of tracking and tracing what's actually happening in the body and in the physical systems, and then from there we'll be able to build out studies that really track something like benzo withdrawal and repairing the GABA system, for instance, or the scope of efficacy for Amanita in particular is pretty far out. Like, it's the more we learn, the more use cases it has, and it seems to be a wider scope of efficacy than even things like psilocybin or other plant medicines that people are more familiar with. So there's a whole plethora of different studies that we can do, and I think initially we'll probably focus on the low hanging fruit like benzo withdrawal or anxiety or PTSD, things of that nature. But it'll be years and years of doing research to really hammer all of this in, because there's just so much that it seems to help with.
that's amazing. What are besides the withdrawals? What are some of the other biggest benefits?
Anxiety is the one that
Because I
people.
know there's a lot of people on here probably that have no idea of what even Amarita is. So it'd be cool to talk. I know we've been kind of focusing on how it helped you withdraw and stuff like that, but what other amazing benefits?
Yeah, well, so first off, so Amanita muscaria is the red mushroom with white dots. It's the Alice in Wonderland mushroom. It's the Mario mushroom. It's the mushroom emoji on your phone. It's the most iconic mushroom in the world. Some of the earliest depictions of Adam and Eve have been covering themselves with Amanita muscaria caps instead of the fig leaves that we hear about nowadays. Some of the earliest petroglyphs and cave paintings are of anthropomorphized Amanita deities. It's thought to be the drink soma in the Vedic hymns, which is the drink of the gods. So it's
Wow.
it's embedded in our culture and history. It's almost as if it's a part of our DNA in a sense. And some people call it the Christ mushroom, which I think is such an interesting term now that we've discovered what we're discovering its scope of efficacy, because it's like I mentioned, it's massive, massive, massive. But the big ones that people generally find out about it for initially are things like anxiety. It hits the GABA system. It works on the same receptors that something like alcohol hits, or benzodiazepines, anti-anxiety medication. So there's that slight lowering of inhibition and stress release and, increase in sociability. So anxiety is a big one. Insomnia is a big one. One of the really interesting, unique aspects of it is the deep-seated healing, the kind of behind-the-scenes trauma healing that it tends to elicit. I think part of this is likely due to neuroplasticity, which, again, we don't have data on, but it certainly seems that there's quite the increase in neuroplasticity. And it seems to almost give one space between their thoughts. And a gentle nudge into choosing the higher thought processes. So, if you're in a situation where you might react in a specific way, it seems to very gently nudge one to react in a more positive way, and then it reinforces that it appears by increasing neuroplasticity and rewiring the neuronal networks to allow for that to happen more in the future. Most people tend to microdose it or take very low doses. It's also extremely functional. So unlike something like psilocybin, taking a low dose of psilocybin, like you can't go to work, you can't, go about your day-to-day business. But with Amanita, it's completely different. Like, it's extraordinarily functional. It's relaxing. It opens one up. It's very, very grounding, and it's very pleasant. But yeah, most people tend to microdose it, in which it's subperceptual, so one doesn't really even notice that they feel anything. But there seems to be this greater space in between their reactivity and their thought processes, and this grounding and connection with one's higher self, I suppose. And
No, that's amazing. Have you combined it with like movement practices while you're on it, or doing like breath work or things like that, and added into it?
Yep, absolutely, absolutely, yeah, and it's absolutely phenomenal. One of the things that it works really, really well for is hypnotherapy, because it puts you in that relaxed, I would imagine it puts you in kind of an alpha state. It really increases flow state. So we work with a lot of, professional athletes, for instance, because and fighters in general. So like, or specifically, so like people that are, in the ring and UFC or MMA fighting, and they claim it's the most beneficial thing that they've ever taken, because it puts them in such a flow state. And and it increases pain tolerance and allows them to hit quicker and move faster. It's a really potent nootropic as well, which aids itself for entrepreneurs or creatives, like anybody doing music or artwork or writing papers. It works really well for that. But yeah, hypnotherapy, it works exceedingly well for, because it just kind of allows you to go under.
Yeah.
And then we've played with breath work, with yoga, with meditation. It's really great for really all that stuff. I take it before massages every now and then, and it has muscle relaxing qualities to it as well, so it really allows those to be much more beneficial. And
That's amazing. Just really quick, I saw someone post in the comments. No, we're not talking of those. The withdrawal symptoms we were referring to was from alcohol, benzodiazepine, uh, and other drug substances, not from Amanita itself.
yeah.
Someone was confused. They said, "Did you mention the withdrawal symptoms are for the Amanita mushrooms?" No.
Yeah, so Amanita just seems to be like one of the most beneficial things on the face of the earth for dealing with withdrawals or getting through withdrawals from other
Yeah.
substances. It doesn't hit the opioid receptors at all. However, we found time and time again through anecdotes that it works extremely well for people getting off of opioids. A lot of people, when they start microdosing it, they find that they just titrate down their prescription medication with no issues, whether it's SSRIs or antidepressants or opioid pain medication or whatever it may be, because it just works so well. But yeah, one of the other really unique things about Amanita, specifically being a GABAergic, is that there doesn't seem to be any withdrawal. There doesn't seem to be any tolerance buildup, which is very unique for any substance that hits GABA. As we mentioned, GABA, withdrawing from GABA substances can be deadly. Like, it's the only thing in the world that has that capability. And it's for some reason. Hopefully, we can get data on this as well. For some reason, it doesn't cause withdrawal, and it doesn't cause a tolerance buildup. So it seems to be like the most efficacious thing for getting off of these substances.
And just for safety purposes, Hey everyone, just because this can be used to help with withdrawal, we're not suggesting you run out right now. If you're addicted to alcohol and do this, please do it under the safety and guidance of people who are also professionals in withdrawing. If you want to present this as something you're using in the process of that, cool, but just don't run off on your own and do it safely, please.
Yes.
Yeah, because I know that some people be like, oh, okay, hey, whatever you do on your own is your own volition. But just to clarify for us, our position, do it safely under supervision, please. It can be dangerous to withdraw from substances.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
I love it, and it's kind of crazy. I didn't realize that this mushroom was so prevalent in all of culture, and it was the actual Alice in Wonderland mushroom. That's pretty
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's so fascinating too. It's almost, one of the things that we've been talking about recently is that it seems to do a lot of healing on the inner child, which is such an interesting and important aspect to this healing or optimizing journey that anybody might be on. And it's the children's mushroom. It's literally a part of a child's life since the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, it's in front of everybody's faces since they're a kid. And if you ask a child to draw a mushroom, 9 out of 10 times it's going to be the Amanita mushroom, even if they've never even seen it before. So it's interesting that it's kind of like it's there, in essence, waiting for us to rediscover it. And yeah, it's been in front of our faces since, not even just since we're kids, but since the beginning of time, really.
So was it is this something that's been known for quite a long time? Like in, say, I hate to use this word like subculture or cultures that are, behind the scenes into all this, or is it something that's more recently surfaced because of the work that you guys are doing, or has it been around kind of on the periphery for a long time and just no one's ever brought it to market in this way before?
It's it's been known in subcultures. So like there's been very, very few people that have spoken about this in the last, 60, 70 years. Like it wasn't a part
Wow.
of the psychedelic, renaissance, for instance. Again, like I mentioned earlier, people just didn't use it right. So one of the things about Amanita is its preparation is important. If you pick it raw to the ground and eat it, for instance, most people are going to end up getting sick. So one needs to prepare it properly. You need to dry it properly, and then one can further prepare it by utilizing heat and acidity. So one will make a tea out of it and boil it in water with some lemon juice, for instance. Or we have products that are all already prepared. But so like back in the day, people didn't know this, and they thought that they were, like I mentioned, they were taking very, very large doses of it without preparing it properly. So there's a couple groups in the past 40 or 50 years that kind of figured it out and unlocked it, but they were very, very, very small groups, and it really never spread from them. So it's really been very recent that and through the work that we're doing and a couple other individuals are doing that it started gaining traction. Now, that being said, it was absolutely known in antiquity, like throughout
Yeah.
human history. It's absolutely, absolutely been known, which is, probably indicative of why it's, on early cave paintings or the caps that were covering Adam and Eve and early religious artworks. But yeah, it's as of in more recent history, it really didn't start coming out until the past 3, 4, or 5 years.
Oh, real quick, I saw a comment. The name of the company is Minnesota Nice Ethnobotanicals, and we're talking about Amanita mushrooms, which is a product, one of the many beautiful products that they actually carry, and they sell it in a prepared way that you can already take and experience it. You can get it as a tea, you can get it as gummies actually as well. Just to answer someone's question, because I think they want to go look at your site right away. Um,
Yeah, and I'll go if the website isn't in my bio, since I couldn't log in with
yeah, yeah,
our company.
we
I'll put it in my bio. Yeah.
okay, cool. And I mean, when we repost this, we'll link to it. Hopefully, it doesn't block the link because we'll put a link to when we repost the live itself. All of the links and your Instagrams and stuff will be there. But you don't get blocked when people click on it, right? It only stops you from going live from your business account,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You can put the link. You can put the
Okay.
link in.
Cool. Because we'll repost it with all those in there. Um, she brought up something that when you were talking about it, it kind of clicked in my mind, and I don't know because again, the culture of like psychedelics, I've only kind of stepped into the very periphery of it myself and kind of like learned about it. Do you think because when you were talking about how Amanita, which seems like a very a way safer, besides grabbing the mushroom itself, like once you know how to prepare it, as far as the side effects and the effects on the body, it seems like it has a huge, great benefit and a very low negative side effect benefit, problems.
Hmm.
Where a lot of the other psychedelics out there seem to have a lot bigger effect on the body or potential downside. Do you think that there's some kind of push because I know that from governments to whoever else get involved in research and they're always researching stuff. Do you think that there was maybe a push at some point, or maybe this happened where because the mushroom was at some point so popular and beneficial that it was kind of purposely pushed to the side in other substances that still had benefits but weren't quite the same level of overall health? Do you think that
Yeah.
something like that happened in your research as exploring all these subjects?
Yeah. I mean, there seems to have been a very concerted effort to not only downplay it but demonize it.
Wow.
So like if you go and this is a worldwide thing. Like if you go to Russia, for instance, or anywhere in Eastern Europe, like the general consensus amongst the general populace is that it's poisonous. And that's the general consensus for most people here as well. Like if you see a lot of people hear that the red mushroom with white dots is poisonous, and this is all completely overblown, which is really unfortunate. But it's a way that they've kind of kept it, out of people's radar. The that aspect comes from the idea that if you eat it raw, a lot like people will get sick. You need to prepare it properly. So there's this barrier, I suppose, that one needed to figure out to kind of cross, which us and a couple other people figured out like 5-6 years ago, that completely negates that as an issue. But that's been kind of the narrative throughout the years, and there's studies that back up why this is incorrect, as well, which I'm happy to get into, or yeah, but yeah, that's been kind of the narrative. We kind of look at it as the crown jewel conspiracy amongst plant medicines, because it is. I mean, it's like I mentioned, from what we're finding day in and day out, is it's more efficacious than really anything else out there. I mean, they call it the Christ mushroom for a reason, and it's lived up to its name so far, from my work, from what I've seen. Yeah.
You, that's amazing. Hey, Monica, if you're in the chat, can you please drop the link to the website directly? Someone just asked for it. If you're in the chat, Monica. Um, it's always so fascinating to me, like when you look at different substances or even the advent of things that are so beneficial for people, and then throughout culture, certain things get so demonized, but when you actually look into it and start to research it's like, whoa, this is such
Hmm.
a potentially beneficial and beautiful thing, and people literally have spent billions of dollars, millions of dollars to suppress it, hide it, keep it off the market, go on whole PR campaigns. Because even for myself, honestly, with and I'm pretty open. Like I love talking about everything from tripping through the universe to aliens to whatever. And I still have there's a lot of stigma in my own mind still about the use of like mushrooms or things like that. I can still feel a lot of times my own like, oh, wait a second, I don't know, resistance to it, to the idea, or even to sometimes conversations about it. So it's interesting how well that's been orchestrated into people of like, no. stay away from those. But drinking a bunch of alcohol is
Right.
totally fine.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I think it's so interesting with mushrooms because mushrooms are, they're very mystical. Like they come up, a specific type of mushroom will come up once a year. Mushrooms can be extraordinarily deadly, or they can be edible, or they can send you on, a journey. And like, so I would imagine there's this innate reverence and fear, throughout historical times or long, long ago, and that's kind of been so that's in essence, a part of our lineage and incorporated in our DNA, and that's been utilized to increase the stigma, and it's been interesting watching this push for mushrooms over the past 10, 20 years, and then to see this more recent push that we're at the forefront of and a big part of, because yeah, they're some of the most powerful. I mean, they're powerful creatures, and yeah, I mean it's interesting to see, and it's interesting to experience that concern and that fear, even for myself. It's a reverence. Like they're powerful entities. Yeah.
So cool. Now, when I was kind of reading here about you, you were given a book at some point. I thought the story was kind of interesting. This
Yeah.
a gentleman, kind of essentially appearing from another universe, gave you a book, and it kind of helped also shift your direction. Do you mind elaborating on that a little bit for our
Sure.
listeners? I thought it was so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. This is a fun story. So I was at 19. I decided I wanted to move out of Minnesota, and I had my closest friend, whom I was put in the same crib with as a baby in daycare. He moved to Boulder, Colorado when he was 18. I got in touch with him and I was like, dude, I need to move. And he was like, man, I want to move out of Colorado too. So what we decided to do is we each got a map and we put it out in front of us, a map of the United States. And we decided we were going to flip a coin. We were each going to flip a coin on the map. And in the middle of where our two coins landed was where we were going to move to. And we both flipped a coin, and both of our coins ended on Portland,
Yeah.
Oregon, which was, interesting. So we moved to Portland,
Yeah.
and I was in the punk, I was a musician, and I was in the
Yeah.
metal punk scene, and so was he. And so we went to this show, and we met this guy named Bobby, and Bobby and us got close, and we started a band, and we would go hang out at Bobby's house, 3, 4 days out of the week, and we'd go climb mountains for the other days that we were out there. And Bobby's dad was a paranoid schizophrenic, and he was a really bad paranoid schizophrenic, like the worst that I've ever known. And he would be gone for 2, 3 weeks at a time, and then he would come back to the house and be there for a few days, and then he'd be gone again for weeks. And I don't think I ever spoke with him once. And it was like 6 months into our stay in Portland, where we were playing music in the basement, and Bobby's dad was home, and he came into the basement and interrupted one of our songs. And I turned and look at him, and his hair is unkempt, and his eyes are bugged out and in a frenzy. He's very, very intensely just staring at me. And he walks up to me, and he has this book in his hands, and he hands me the book, and he said, "They told me you needed to have this." And he turned around and walked to the house and left, and that was the last time I ever saw him. I never saw him again after that. And
Wow.
the book was The Holographic Universe by Michael Talbot. And I've always been, I went to college for physics. I ended up dropping out to pursue a career in real estate in my early 20s. But I've always been very, very interested in this sort of thing. And I didn't read the book for 6 to 8 months, but it was a few weeks later that I was on top of a mountain, and I was, having a psychedelic. I was on a psychedelic journey, and I was looking at the sun through the clouds so I can actually see the sun and gaze at it. And the voice of God came down, and it basically said, like, it's time for you to go home. Like, you've gotten what you needed here in Portland. It's time to go to Minnesota again. And I didn't realize until 6, 8 months later that I read the book that was the reason that I went out to Portland. It was the most concise, path of least resistance to get this knowledge to me. And that the book completely changed my life. And, we sell the book on our website.
Wow.
which is wonderful because we've had, you know, couple hundred people that have been able to have that switch turned on through that book. Because yeah, it's just a phenomenal book, that describes so beautifully in ways that I've, you know, known innately throughout my life, but couldn't quite articulate it, kind of what's going on in this universe. And yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but it's a phenomenal book, The Holographic Universe by Michael Talbot.
Incredible. I love that story. And you still play music now, right? You're still like,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't. So I played guitar in bands throughout my teens and my 20s, and then I played drums in a metal band for 8, 9 years, and it was kind of, you know, through this more recent transition after I got off of benzodiazepines, I gave up, you know, the metal scene. As much as I loved it, I don't really have that. It's not in line with who I am these days anymore. So I play a lot of piano nowadays. I play a little guitar too, but I play a lot of piano, and I love music. And yeah, I hope that at some point I can play with people again more. I'm also, you know, I don't really have time for it right now,
yeah,
but yeah, lots of piano.
I love it. Piano is actually one of my favorite instruments. It's kind of funny because I
Really?
I also grew up. I knew a little bit of guitar. Mainly played the drums. Played in rock bands. Played played some crazy metal, like in the style of like Korn and Tool and stuff like that.
Well,
And then as I've I hate to say it this way, but as I've grown through my life, like I don't know, frequency and tones of music has become so important to me that I end up listening to a lot softer, gentler, flowy music just by nature, like old classical music. Classic rock I can still listen to quite a bit, but a lot of like modern like metal or rock I have a hard time. I don't know, something about the tonality of it.
yeah,
Get,
yep.
get my body picks it feels it really intense, and I'm like, okay, I can listen to that for about like two songs. I need to switch.
Yeah, yeah, I'm the same way. It's interesting. It was, you know, it was so, I think there was so much like unprocessed stuff from my childhood and from my, you know, growing up that it it tickled in a way that allowed me to like get out, you know, various emotions or angst or whatever that I really needed to at that point in my life, particularly
Yeah,
playing really heavy, fast music on stage. Like that was a really cathartic way to purge, I suppose. And I don't really need that anymore. So it doesn't excite me like it used to. Now, don't get me wrong. I still listen to some stuff every now and then. Every now and then, you know, a
yeah,
song will come on my Spotify list, and I'll be like, yeah, this is great.
yeah,
But it's not something that I'm seeking out really anymore. I like it's been much more calm these days, you know.
yeah. Yeah, I was laughing yesterday. I was sitting down to do, I was flipping through and I was like, oh, is there some 528 hertz music? Great.
Yeah.
And, and,
Yeah.
and back when I was a teenager, I was like, hey, can I have some more Megadeth or Metallica or
Yeah.
Machine
Yeah.
Head? I was
Yeah.
so it's kind of funny to see that even that switch in myself. Um, okay, so I love it. If you can, are now you guys carry more than just Amanita, right? You also have like a few other great herbs and substances that are beneficial and healthy. Can you go into some of those for everybody?
Yeah, we have a lot of I think, you know, the next largest is Blue Lotus. So Blue Lotus was the Egyptians' preferred psychoactive plant or substance, and it's what we've found is it seems like it's because it increases the output of any spiritual activity tenfold. So if one uses it with meditation, for instance, like it allows one to go considerably deeper. If one uses it with rituals, it seems to like allow the impression on the subconscious mind to be considerably more. So it increases the output of any of these spiritual practices. It's also a potent heart opener, so it allows us to connect with love and compassion considerably more. It synergizes extraordinarily well with just about anything. A lot of people like to use it in conjunction with cannabis or with, yeah, like I mentioned, meditation, yoga. People like to use it in combination with typical psychedelics. It can enhance dream, so lucid dreaming practices. It's really wonderful for. It's a potent aphrodisiac as well. So Blue Lotus is really, really wonderful and definitely our second biggest selling item. We also sell Kava. I think a lot of people are familiar with Kava these days. There's Kava bars popping up all over the country, and kind of an alcohol alternative. It's somewhat of an inebriant. It's a drink. It's a root from the South Pacific that the islanders use in place of alcohol at any ceremony. Meeting of chiefs, for instance, they're going to drink a kava brew, and it's somewhat intoxicating, but it's significantly healthier on the body and mind than something like alcohol, and it's a really wonderful alternative. Kana is also a big one. Kana is a succulent from Africa that works on the brain as an SNRI. So it works very similarly to something like Prozac or Zoloft or typical antidepressants. However, it does so without hijacking the serotonin system and without depleting serotonin in the body. So just like, Amanita, there's no tolerance buildup, there's no withdrawal, and it can be used. It also has an immediate effect, unlike, if somebody gets prescribed anti-anxiety or antidepressant medication, they have to let it build up over a month or two to really get the benefits or the effect from it, where Kana is very immediate. And some people will use it for dancing or going out to parties or ceremonies, because it aids really well. It works really well for dancing and movement of the body, and it can be somewhat euphoric, but it's a really potent mood boost. So actually in South Africa, they'll prescribe Kana to patients, where they say, just go chew on this root 3 times a day for your depression, and it works extraordinarily well. We have a ton of different products. We like to hit dream products as well. So there's an African root called Silene capensis that enhances visionary dream states. It doesn't have any effect on your waking mind or body, but if you take it consistently, one's dreams become more and more profound and visionary and lucid. There's a handful of different dream substances, and there's a handful of other ones, but the Blue Lotus, Kava, and Kana are generally the bigger ones. Yeah, but Amanita is our bread and butter. That's what we're known for, and that's what brought me into this, and that's what brings most people into this realm of these legal plant medicines. But yeah, once one experiences that and its potential, they're generally really open and wanting to explore these other ones, and they all have their own unique set of benefits and their ability to aid and enhance one's life. There's a lot of different ones though.
Are any of these addicting in any capacity, like where it's like someone's kind of gets into that thing of because I've noticed this sometimes, and this is sometimes what I've observed in a lot of circles of, say, even like ayahuasca, is people forget to go and do the work or go and do the processing or go back into integration, and they end up like kind of chasing an experience because they have these intense like feelings.
Mhm.
Have you found that like with any of these substances that they kind of like produce a similar effect, or is it more just like, hey, this is an enhancement, this is great, I can learn so much from this, but I'm not getting the same pull of like, oh, I need it to feel this.
Yeah, we really don't see that with these, and nothing that we offer on the website is physically addicting. So which is really important,
Okay,
because
good.
there are various plant medicines that are legal. Something like kratom, for instance, that is physically addicting, and it can be very detrimental for people. I think there's always potentially that innate risk of psychological dependence with just about anything, even with meditation, or
Yes.
whatever it may be. But we find with I mean, Amanita, since it's the hardest hitter, we'll discuss that, which can be extrapolated to all these other ones. But it really doesn't. It doesn't seem to have that, and unless one is taking it to escape, and it's a real and that's very 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 rare because it doesn't really lend itself to that much. And if one's taking it to escape, they're taking really large doses consistently, which we don't recommend anybody doing at all. Like most people are best off taking microdoses and low doses. Most people don't even like the really large doses. Everybody seems to really love the microdose and low doses. But yeah, I mean, like I think the answer to that, like internally, is take anything with intention, and behind that intention, like you mentioned, one has to do the work as well. And fortunately, with something like Amanita, it so gently nudges us in the direction to do that work that it doesn't tend to have that sort of negative gripping effect on people. So yeah, it's very 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 rare that we see anything like that. But just like with anything,
Mhm.
particularly with anything that helps somebody or helps them feel a little bit better, that is a potential. But I I think personally it's considerably less with Amanita than it is with really any of these other, like something like ayahuasca, for instance, or psilocybin. And I think that the people in our company and in our circle, I think that they'd agree with all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because you also said something that I thought was really cool. Is you said like even with meditation, it can become addicting, and it's true where people start to, we'll use the generic term of spiritual bypassing, where
Mm.
they get addicted to some kind of tool or technique of like, well, if I don't do this tool, I can't make it through my day, or if I don't, they become dependent upon the tool as opposed to actually pulling the benefit out of the tool and getting back to like living. It can still become a crutch to a certain degree. Uh,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
like
And
that
that's
you.
that's Yeah,
So go ahead.
that's like that integration is the most important aspect of any of these tools. Like integration, like yeah, the experience and the revelations are wonderful, but if we can't integrate that, then it doesn't have any impact on our life. And like we're here in this world to learn and experience this world, and to learn and experience the people around us. And if we don't integrate our experiences, there's no positive benefit long term, aside from maybe like the elation that one gets when they come to an understanding or realization. We call Amanita the integration medicine because it tends to allow one to integrate. And I don't know if that's because of the increased neuroplasticity. We don't know, and hopefully we can get some data on this at some point. But we call it the integration medicine, and it works in that sense. It works so wonderfully in conjunction with even things like therapy or talk therapy, or we work with various ayahuasca retreat centers where they'll give their clients Amanita microdoses in the following days because it allows them to integrate their experiences so much more. So if one is getting a benefit from Amanita, it seems to just like naturally allow one to integrate, which is a really beautiful thing that I don't really see with anything else. So yeah, yeah,
I love that aspect of it because it's been one of my like my own personal pet peeves that I've seen in a lot of communities where people kind of they leave say one uh, say foray like in say we'll use like club scenes for example of partying, club drugs, all that. They to have these experiences to kind of escape, to feel better, and then they graduate to a more healthy scene. But then a lot of people kind of follow the same pathway of being caught in the
yeah.
same loopholes of just chasing experience, chasing an
Mhm.
experience, chasing an experience, and not still actually processing or integrating or doing the actual work and becoming a better, well, I hate to say better version because that's judging the old version because if you judge it, then you create more resistance, whatever. But it's like that evolution of like moving through, and that's always made me sometimes resistance to suggesting to people like, hey, go try
Yeah.
this, because there's been even like a personal sometimes hesitancy because I'm like, oh man, is this person going to just use this to still kind of escape and not still not so deal with what's driven them to disconnect in the first place, or what's driven them to have that childhood trauma in the first place, not actually dealing with the roots of it.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that you're actually saying is like, hey, you still need to go do the work, you still need to integrate, and this can be super helpful in that process. I love the fact that you're addressing that right up front and saying it to people, not just saying like, yeah, go have this cool experience.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, like, I do what I do in hopes to have the largest impact on any individual or humanity as a whole. And like, I would be doing a disservice if I didn't, explain that aspect of it, because it is like, it's really, it's up to us. I think, one of the things that comes up a lot with me is this, and seeing my past with issues with addiction and whatnot, is this idea of even spiritual addiction, or like chasing these experiences, or coming back to it. It's really an addiction to our thoughts. Like, every human being is addicted to their thoughts. Like, everybody on the face of this earth is addicted to
Yeah.
their thoughts, and it's one of the most difficult things. It's the most difficult thing to break. It's the most difficult addiction to break. And like, an addict, somebody that's addicted to opiates, for instance, like, they're addicted to opiates. Yeah, physically addicted is one thing, but they're really addicted to opiates because they're addicted to the thought processes that bring them time and time and time again to consume those opiates, or insert your substance here. Like, and what we found is that, that work is, it's still necessary to work when one is taking any plant medicine. But with Amanita, it seems that it allows one to break that addiction to their thoughts, and it does so in such a gently, beautiful way. That's so, it seems to make it really, really simple, and not without the work though too. Like, of course one has to put in the work, but the work is much easier to put into, and almost effortless at times. It feels. But yeah, I mean, I think it's such an important aspect to any healing journey that anybody is on. Like, we can't just, you can never just take something and expect everything to be different. That's not how it works. Like, it's up to us. It's up to us.
So then we go take some action in the world. Take some actual
Yeah,
action.
yeah,
Especially like, hey, I want to build a business. You got to go actually build the business.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because the opportunity may appear, but you still have to then put some elbow function into it.
Of course.
Uh, so what would so we have a lot of people, people coming in and out of here. So what would be your recommendations of maybe where to start and how to start if they wanna experience this?
I think microdosing is generally the easiest place to start for most people. Microdose, or there's a few schools of thought. There's a few ways that one can go about this, and the two that we like to focus on the most are either microdosing or taking low doses a little bit more sporadically. So, microdosing would be taking anywhere from, uh, 200 milligrams to a gram or two a couple times a day. And so, like, on the website, for instance, we have capsules, we have gummies, we have chocolate bars that are all metered out, and dosed out specifically. So if one wanted to microdose and they got the capsules, for instance, they would take 1 to 2 capsules 2 times a day, maybe 3 times a day. It's different than something like psilocybin. Psilocybin, you have an innate buildup of tolerance that happens very quickly. So people will do like 1 day on, 2 days off, or 5 days on, 2 days off. With something like Amanita, it's a bit different. You want to take it consistently and allow it to stay in your system and kind of build up in the system. But yeah, so a capsule twice a day, 3 times a day, consistently for a set regiment period of time. And that could be anywhere from, 10 days. It could be, a few weeks. It could be a month. It could be 6 months. Some people do it indefinitely. And a lot of it's largely intuitive. Like, one needs to kind of feel out and feel what makes sense for them. But
Mm-hmm.
generally starting with a capsule twice a day, or a gummy twice a day, or maybe 2 capsules twice a day, or 2 gummies twice a day, is a good place to start. And then just take it as long as one feels is necessary. And it's really important. I think the easiest way to kind of track and see what's happening is to watch one's thoughts. And this goes back to, like, it almost trains one to be a meditator in a sense if they're doing it properly, because, well, A, it allows you to watch your thoughts like a lot more effortlessly, but you're really able to see what's happening internally if you can focus on your thoughts throughout this process. So yeah, journal and watch your thoughts and see like how you react to certain situations, or like maybe you notice a situation pops up and normally you'd immediately jump here, but instead you had a little bit of space and you chose to go this way, and journal all that and reinforce that and allow that neuroplasticity to create the new neuronal networks and to build up this new narrative and this new story. So that's one way to do it. Another thing people like to do is take low doses a little bit more sporadically. So a low dose would be something like 2 to 5 grams, which sounds like a lot to people if they're used to psilocybin dosing. Like 5 grams of psilocybin is like a heroic dose. That's not the case with Amanita. It's a different dosing table. 15 grams is considered the heroic dose for Amanita. So yeah, 2 to 5 grams taken, maybe however often one would like, once a week or just one time, or however often feels right. But that's another way to do it, and that way one can get the effects of it more, so you really feel what it feels like when it's flowing through your system. And same deal, journal, watch your thoughts. Maybe I like to read on it. I like to read really complex, like physics stuff, and that's just me. But because I'm able to wrap my head around things in a way that I wouldn't be able to otherwise, I'm able to conceptualize things in a very unique way and pull threads that I wouldn't be able to pull otherwise. But one can go about their day-to-day business or their evening business on doses of that
Mm-hmm.
that level. And once you break the 5 gram mark, it gets a little bit more difficult. But again, most people don't. Not everybody likes that, and like that's something that if one really gets into it and they want to experiment with larger doses, then sure, go for it. But in initial phases, microdosing or taking 3 grams or something is a really good place to start. And then we have educational videos all over the website. There's different podcasts, and I mean there's papers and reports, and so there's really all the info that one would want on the website as well. But we're also extremely responsive, so if anybody has questions, they can reach out to us at any point in time. We're happy to guide as best as we can through anybody's thought processes as to how to go about using it. But yeah, microdosing, 1 to 2 capsules or gummies 2 times a day, morning, evening, or taking 3 or so grams in one sitting to get a little bit more of the effects would be generally the place to start at.
Very cool. And do you want to give everyone like where to connect, like the website specifically?
Yeah. So it's MN Nice Ethnobotanicals. So if you type in MN Nice or Minnesota Nice on Google, you'll find us. If you type in probably where to buy Amanita, you'll find us. I know you guys are linked on your Human Garage
Yeah.
website, so you can sell us in your store, and you have a great discount code for everybody as well. So definitely recommend people utilizing that. But yeah, it's MN Nice Ethnobotanicals. So the website is mniceethno.com.
And for those also tuning and listening, if you go to our website, if you forget that, uh, it's right on our page. You can just click on it, and it will take you there anyway, and you can apply Human Garage to it, and like to get a nice little bonus discount. Um, what's next for you guys? I know you're doing a lot of research. You're actually getting like, like technical testing done on these things and how it's affecting people. Well, what's next for your guys' journey?
We're building out a all-encompassing platform, which is really exciting.
Wow.
We started a podcast. We just filmed our first episode last week, and I'll be filming, hopefully a handful more before I go to Africa at the end of this month, which I'm very excited about.
Are
But
you are you
yeah,
doing research down there, like more plant stuff, or are you just like?
Well, so the kana that I mentioned earlier, it comes from Africa, so that's a part of the trip. And then while I'm there, Africa Burn is going on, so Burning Man in Africa, and I got invited out to go there, so I'm going to do that as well, which is really exciting. But yeah, I mean, it's really for business. But so we're building out this platform that we're going to call the Amanita Effect, which will incorporate all of these anecdotes and stories from people. It'll incorporate research. It'll be essentially an open source, decentralized platform where anybody can, with some moderation, anybody can bring in their stories, and then we'll categorize it all to, like I mentioned, the scope of efficacy is unreal. So like we want a platform where if somebody wants to find out if, Amanita works for fibromyalgia, for instance, there will be articles and information posted by various users or individuals, as well as research backing it, as well as a podcast that has a long form discussion about it, and then yeah, so that's an exciting thing that we're in the infancy stages of, I suppose. There's a lot of other really interesting, exciting things that we're working on that I don't really I don't want to speak out into the universe until we get a little bit more momentum on them. But I go all around the country and give lectures, and so a lot of that's coming up. We're starting to break into the festival scene a little bit more, which is fun and exciting. Yeah, I mean, there's the research is the big one right now. That's where a lot of our energy and focus is going. But yeah, there's a lot of things behind the scenes that are happening that I can't quite discuss at this point in time.
It sounds, but it's so cool that more and more people are opening back up to this. That's been actually interwoven in culture for a long time. That like a lot of many beautiful, powerful things have been kind of shoved off to the side or purposely obscured, or pushed away for us not to remember or get access to it. And I love the fact that you guys are kind of spearheading bringing it back into the world and making it available.
Yeah.
And making it available in easy ways to do. Like someone can literally go and get some amazing gummies or capsules and not have to worry about proper harvesting of the mushrooms or preparation. You can actually try it very simply.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful and fun thing to be a part of. I think the people in our close inner circle, like myself very much included, like we've had a vision, and I've had visions about where this is supposed to go, and like the scope that this mushroom is meant to play out, like and it's from my understanding and my personal belief is that it's the mushroom itself has a mission, and it's here to have a really, really large impact on humanity and the healing of this world and the healing of the individuals in this world. And I feel so blessed and so honored to be able to be in the position that I'm in, to be at the forefront of this, as are the people on the team, and we're really just kind of like taking the back seat, it feels like, and allowing this mission to breathe through us, so to speak. And so there's every turn or every move that we make, it seems like doors open up to the next step. It's not me that's like going up and physically like trying to open doors. The doors open on their own, and it's a really beautiful thing. So yeah, like one of the things with this platform that we're building is we want it to be as decentralized as possible, in the sense that we want, I don't want the research that we do, for instance, just to be for us. Like there are other Amanita vendors that are on this mission with us together, and we don't see each other as competition. Some of them might see me as competition, but the ones that I communicate with, like we all want to help each other and build each other up, because we're all on a mission to help heal the world. Like that's why we're doing this. So building this platform and allowing us to bring together all of these different vendors, which most other businesses would view them as competition, but we don't see each other in that sense. And so that's a beautiful aspect of this, the mycelial network. It's like the network of the mushroom, which is being reinforced through these actions and through what we're doing. But yeah, so I mean, it's just I can see the potential of where this is going. I don't know what it's going to look like, but from my from what I see, it's meant to be, you know, profoundly impactful on individuals, but also the world and how business operates, for instance.
Mhm.
And yeah, so it's just it's a really it's a beautiful, interesting thing to be a part of.
I love it, man. And Christian, I love also really what you said about collaborating with people in this way. Because when you got like a similar businesses who have the same mission of actually helping people and are focused on that, it's weird when it's like we're on the same page, we're pushing for the same goal. Why not assist each other? Because we all have slightly different vibes, we have slightly different energy, and we're going to appeal to certain people. Another company's going to appeal to a certain
Exactly.
other demographic of people. Why not encourage more of that? It's like I used to work in the film industry for a long time, and I never, I was always like, hey, if I can help you, I'm going to help you. And people were like, why are you doing that, man? What if they get the role and you don't? And I was like, I don't really care because if they get the role, they were meant to get the role. But if I see someone who's
Yeah,
good for something or good or has a good idea, why wouldn't I encourage helping bring that idea into the world? Because I'm going to still find my own pathway. I'm still going to forge my own thing, and people are going to respond to me in a certain way. And the more of good things that are in the world, the better.
absolutely, absolutely.
So I love that you guys are working from that perspective. Someone dropped in a comment in there of saying like, "Hey, can you advise us on what to get from the website? What would your suggestion be for that?"
Yeah, I mean, I would start with the capsules. That's what I would do. I like the, yeah, just me personally, I think a lot of the team would say that as well. So if one, it's looking to microdose, the capsules are just the easiest way to go about it. And then if one is looking to have more of that low dose, like I mentioned, 2 to 5 grams, well, you can take their half-gram capsules, you can take 5 or 6 capsules and get that experience. So they're the easiest way to go about it. That's yeah, it's the easiest place to start. So there's 30 count or 60 count capsules. They're very affordable, and that's where I would personally start. And then from there, one can branch out and start playing around with other things, and digest the information that's on the website and figure out what maybe makes most sense for you to move forward. But yeah, I would start with the capsules personally. The Muscaria
Okay.
capsules.
Okay. Yeah, the capsules are actually pretty cool. I like capsules, although
Yeah.
gummies are pretty fun to eat.
Yeah, gummies are fun to eat. A lot of people don't want the sugar in the gummies, and like so. Yeah, I get that. Gummies or capsules are really fine. The gummies are also a little bit more expensive because they cost money to make. Capsules are easy for us to manufacture at scale, where gummies, it cost a reasonable amount to make
Yeah.
a bunch of gummies. So yeah, but it's personal preference.
Any suggestions about medicinal mushrooms? Someone just asked. Can you
Such
clarify what
as
medicinal? Whoever, sorry, I only caught the end of the question. Whoever dropped that question. Oh, HNA.HNA8. Any suggestions on medicinal? Can you be more specific? Maybe was your question. Probably they're asking about things like lion's mane and reishi and chaga and all those kind of things. That's what I feel like they're asking about. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we have all those on the website as well. It really depends on what one is looking to achieve with what they're taking. But if you go on the website and read through the functional mushroom tab, you might be able to find which one makes the most sense for you. But yeah, yeah,
Okay, because you
it
guys have a
it
whole
really depends.
you guys have a whole you can get those from your website as well, right? Reishi and everything
Yeah,
else. Okay,
yeah, we have
cool.
reishi, chaga, cordyceps, lion's mane, tinctures, and yeah, so on and so forth. Yep.
Sweet deal. All right, brother. Christian, I've loved this conversation. You've actually kind of realigned my own thinking more on this whole subject because, again, yeah, like I said earlier, I've always had a bit of a resistance to the subject of using mushrooms and things like that. So it's so cool to get even a deeper, richer perspective on it and see even more benefit in the use of mushroom that grows right outside.
Yeah,
Not outside next
for
to my
sure.
house because I'm like literally next to the beach, but people can find them and forage them.
Yeah.
I'd love to give you. I want to do two things as we kind of wind down. I want to give you like a last word, whatever you want to say to everyone out there in the audience. And again, reiterate where to go, what to do. And then I want to basically I have to do a little tiny piece of housekeeping before we completely sign out. And I want to then sync out with you. We typically do this at the beginning of meeting someone. We basically just breathe 6 times together. But I want to do that with you and everyone here to wind everything down. So let's start
Please.
off with it. I'll give you the last word of what you want to put out there to the universe right now. Go for it. Whatever you want to impart to people.
Yeah, as I mentioned in the beginning of all this, when I found these mushrooms, there was this unbelievably potent magnetic heart pull. It was indescribable. And what we've found is that anybody that ends up getting into this, like it seems like they have, at least to some caliber, that little heart
Yeah.
pull. So I think if anybody is listening and they're intrigued about this and they focus, and if you feel that little gentle tug, I think it maybe makes sense to explore it and see maybe what it has to offer you. I think that, yeah, like I mentioned before, I really, really do believe, and I think it's indicative by the fact that this is so prevalent in our history, but I really do believe that this mushroom is here to do something or to help facilitate something massive here on this earth. And I think we're in the beginning, the very, very beginning stages of this. And I think if I could explain some of the things that are happening behind the scenes that I really can't talk about right now, it would outline that a little bit more. But I think that the role here that this mushroom has is massive, and maybe you're a part of this. Maybe anybody listening is a part of this. So yeah, just be open, and if one's interested, yeah, go on the website and explore and try it out if you'd like, and reach out to us at any point. We're very responsive, and yeah, I appreciate everybody being here and listening, and mad love to everybody on this journey with us.
I love it. I love it. Uh, and for those of you, we're going to repost this live. It'll come back onto our main page and also get posted to YouTube and kind of migrate over slowly to humangarage.tv as well. So if you're just tuning in, don't worry. This will be reposted. You can watch the entire conversation. Just so you're aware, if you want to catch the full length version, when we repost lives, it only allows us to post 60 minutes. So when you watch on the actual Human Garage page, you're only able to see an hour of our conversation. We've been talking for about an hour and 20 minutes. So if you want to catch the last 20 minutes or so, go to YouTube and you're able to see the whole thing, just so you're aware. But this will be reposted with all the pertinent links, the website information. Minnesota Nice Ethnobotanicals, MN Nice Ethnobotanicals. Uh, I'm from pretty much almost the same region because I'm originally from Upper Michigan, so I relate to Minnesota.
Yeah, yeah,
At the same token, I personally love using the Blue Lotus, Blue Lotus gummies. I found those to be really cool, and I'm personally starting to slowly explore Amanita and using it myself.
love
So that's a huge step for me because I've been so I'm very excited for it. But for everyone out there, yeah, go do research. And the beautiful thing about the Minnesota Nice website is there's a ton of information there. So videos, podcasts. You can get links to more in-depth discussion if you want to know more. And again, any questions, go follow the Instagram. What's again the Instagram handle for everyone to follow?
It's MN_nice_ethno, ETHNO. Yeah, and I apologize that we couldn't, for anybody that didn't catch that in the beginning. We're restricted because of the
Yeah,
products that we sell, even though they're illegal. Instagram doesn't like it, so we couldn't join the live from our Instagram page. So I had to do it from a personal page that I like never use, but
yeah, yeah.
but at least I had something, and maybe I'll start. I saw a bunch of people follow me, so maybe I'll start posting some stuff to that every now and
Yeah,
then
maybe
to give you
just
guys
temporary,
something.
or even relink them to the main page because you guys aren't restricted from like getting DMs and answering stuff, correct? Like all that
Correct.
comes through.
Yeah, yeah. It's just live and running ads. Those are the two
Okay,
things.
okay, cool, awesome. And always, people, if you don't can't DM on Instagram or whatever, go to the website, drop a question
Mhm.
there as well, and You can always, if you forget the website there, it's on the Human Garage page. If you go to our partners, pull that tab down, everything is listed there. You can click the link and go through there as well if you forget the main website. Okay. So, like always, folks, we do this every Wednesday. We take a deep dive with people we love to collaborate who are pushing the envelope actually on thought. By the way, man, hey, we're working on our own official Human Garage podcast. We started recording some episodes of it. So if you're going to be, maybe we can have you on and have like a go off the rails discussion,
That sounds great.
which would be
Yeah.
cool. We're going to be in Austin, Texas, in May. I'll send you the dates for that, and
Please.
also back in LA in June, so I can give you some heads up on that. Maybe if you guys are around, you can pop in and we can do a full on radical episode.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I'd love that.
To go even deeper into these conversations, because again, with live, we're a little bit restricted of where we can kind of go. We have to be a little bit more careful,
Sure.
because of good old Instagram. Our
Yep.
friends on Instagram, who we love you, Instagram. So thanks very much for being here. And what I'd love to do with everybody, and also everyone, if you want to have any deeper discussions or have questions or forget anything, you can also go hit me up on my personal account and my business account, because we talk everything about beliefs and changing systems of belief in the world at Aaron and Mathias the Purpose. So if you forget anything from this, drop either a DM here in Human Garage or drop me a DM, and we'll reference you back to the right places to go. And what I'd love to do right now before we sign off is sink in to sink out. Do not do this, people, if you're listening to this while driving, if you have this on your phone, because it can make you feel pretty relaxed and calm, and you'll probably, well, you can always breathe while you're driving, but sometimes people can have a intense reaction to simple breathing. It can kind of make them feel a little bit dizzy, so don't do it while driving. You're going to simply just give yourself a hug, whichever way you want to do. And we're going to rotate our body. I'm going to keep it super simple. We're going to bring our right shoulder off to the left. We're going to twist our head the opposite way, creating a little bit of a tension. And we're just going to take 6 deep breaths together. I prefer nasal breathing personally, but if you feel like it, feel drawn to, take 3 of the breaths in through your mouth and out through your mouth, or 3 in through the nose, out through the nose. I tend to do in through the nose, out through the mouth for all 6, but whatever you float your boat. So give yourself a little twist and hug, and let's take the first breath in. Let it go. Deep breath in through the nose, or in through the mouth. Let it go. Number 3. Number 4. 5. And number 6. And then just slowly bring yourself back into the center. Very nice. Now, I just imagined if you also were tuned in to using some Amanita as you're doing that whole breathing exercise. Be an interesting experience to combine those two together. Christian, thank you
Work.
so much. I
Thank you,
really
man.
appreciate
Really,
you taking the
really
time.
appreciate it. Yeah.
And
Thank you.
and hopefully we'll be able to connect live again soon. I'll send you all the dates in our chat on WhatsApp. And if
Okay.
any of those work for you guys, it'd be cool to connect with you guys when we're either in Austin or LA.
Beautiful. I'm in LA a lot. I'm in LA right now, so yeah, I'll
Okay.
be there. I'm sure during.
Yeah, I'll send you the dates because we're going to be there for a bit longer than usual, just because we're going to be recording a lot of content. So,
Cool.
okay, brother.
Beautiful. Well, I can't wait. Thank you so much, man. Thanks to everybody that's listening. And yeah, I appreciate every single one of you. And yeah, all the love to everybody.
Adios, everyone. Bye bye.